Hi everyone, this is Kelvin Hoy, the Cinephile. Thank you so much for clicking this video. Thank you so much for watching. So today I'm really excited because I get to talk about a new original Pixar film. So recently they've done Finding Dory and Toy Story 4 is about to come out in a week. And today, just this morning, they dropped news on a new film. Totally unexpected, but Pixar is very good at doing this. So they dropped the title card of this new film, which is called Soul, as in the human soul. So really interesting title. I think it tells us a lot about what the film will be. So it's just the title card and this synopsis, which I will read for you now. Ever wonder where your passion, your dreams, and your interests come from? What is it that makes you, you? In 2020, Pixar Animation Studios takes you on a journey from the streets of New York City to the cosmic realms to discover the answers to life's most important questions. So very mysterious plot. I think we can expect it to be probably take place with human beings in New York City. And I was just thinking about this synopsis. So, I mean, will they have characters like Orion, like the constellations? Will they have characters? I mean, is it set in space? Starts in New York and then somehow it's set in space. Will stars be characters? Will comets be characters? Pardon me. Really interesting, and I didn't. When I first heard about the film, I was like, I just thought to myself, okay, that's a little bit bizarre. It sounds strange, but it's Pixar. And then I found out an hour later who the director was when I actually read the full article. Docter is the director. This guy is one of the, I would argue, I know it's animation and some people have this, and sometimes it doesn't correlate, or doesn't translate, I should say, because Andrew Stanton directed Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. But in between those two films, he directed John Carter, which was not well received. I never watched it, so I don't know. But there is a transition. I understand that, but I think Docter is one of the greatest directors of all time. I mean, he directed Monsters Inc. He directed. I'm trying to go in order. Monsters Inc., Up, Inside Out. Those are arguably three of the greatest films of all time. This guy knows what he's doing in terms of being a storyteller. So he's a great storyteller. As far as I've heard, he has no interest in jumping to live action like so many animation directors do, or they have that sort of interest, or I don't know if they want to legitimize themselves or their careers or their abilities. But yes, it's storytelling. And he's one of the best storytellers. I mean, those three films are incredible. I mean, for me, I think Up is one of the greatest films ever created, period. I mean, the first, I think it's 10 minutes. The first, actually probably 8 minutes. The first 8 or 9 minutes I'm getting all confused. The first 8 or 9 minutes of Up are incredible. Like, one of the finest examples of storytelling, with very little dialogue. It's sort of like Bambi, actually, in that way. But yes, so I don't want to just toot his horn. But when I heard that he was directing this, I was like, of course it's Docter. And this guy doesn't, he's in the company, now he is the leader at Pixar. I don't want to get into personal business, but Lasseter's gone. He was asked to leave, or he left himself. It doesn't really matter. So he's gone, and Docter is the man there. He's the leader. Which, before all of that happened with Lasseter, I said, this is 5-6 years ago. I said to myself, Docter should take over. I mean, Docter should take over from John Lasseter when Lasseter retires at 70 or 75 or 80, right? When he really you know, and I don't want to be ageist or anything, but you're not, I mean, yes, you have a wealth of experience, so he could be an advisor. You know, this is before Lasseter's behavior issues, but, and I always thought, well, Lasseter has to step down. He can't be running back and forth from Disney to Pixar because he was the head of both. And I think Jennifer Lee is the head of Disney Animation right now, which is great. She wrote Frozen and Frozen 2. And I believe she wrote Wrinkle in Time, which I never watched it. Didn't get good reviews. I don't know if it was the writing or the directing, or sometimes the visions clash. But anyways, so Peak Doctor is the leader there. I always said he should be the leader. He is now, probably 10 years early, or earlier than I expected, or everyone expected. But yes, so he's creating this new film named Soul. This is Inside Out came out in 2015, so it's 5 years. So that's basically his process, really. I mean, that was a long process between Monsters Inc. and Up, but he also wrote Monsters University, I believe. But anyhow, so he's a team player, but he's also an original guy. He doesn't, as far as I can tell, he doesn't love sequels. You know, some people are very okay or very open to sequels, and they want to have their trilogy, right? Or they want to say, hey, if I did Monsters Inc., then I should do Monsters University. If you want another Monsters film, and he wrote the film. I think he spoke to his bosses at the time, but he spoke to people above him and said, hey, I can write it, but I really don't want to direct a sequel, because he's never directed a sequel. So this is his fourth original film in less than 20 years, which is pretty good for animation. Animation, that doesn't sound good, but animation takes a long time. I mean, I watched the documentary Sleeping Beauty, or Waking Sleeping Beauty, which was about Disney and creating The Little Mermaid and all the turmoil behind that time period. So yes, so he's an original guy. He doesn't like sequels apparently, and this is his fourth original film. I'm looking forward to it. I wanted to create a video because, I mean, it gave me a lift today, just knowing there's going to be another original Pixar film, which we all knew there would be. I mean, their MO now is basically, I don't know if it's alternating, but it's, if there's a sequel, if there's a great story, they'll tell it. Toy Story 4 is getting great reviews as I speak. I'm watching it this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I was a little hesitant when they first announced it because it's the fourth in the series. I mean, you're going to the well, you know, several times, so that's a tall task. But apparently they've done a great job again. So I'm sure Peak Doctor will do a great job with Soul. Now this synopsis, I've heard people say, so it sounds a bit vague. I think that's on purpose. Sounds a bit mysterious. You know, I heard one person say it potentially also sounds sort of bad, right? Like, oh, what is this film going to be, right? But he directed Monsters Inc. If you heard just a synopsis of Monsters Inc., you would say, okay, that's weird, that's strange. Up. Elderly man takes a boy on an adventure. Doesn't sound like the most exciting thing in the world, right? Inside Out. When Inside Out was first announced, it was, I believe the line was, the Pixar film that takes you inside the human mind. That's it. And people were excited about it, you know? And of course there were fears. They were saying, well, how is that a film? Or how are you going to tell that story in a cinematic way and for not over 90 minutes, right? I mean, Pixar films vary, I know, but it could be 90 minutes, it could be 100 minutes. I believe Inside Out's over 100 minutes, which is long for animation. And now he's doing Soul, which is obviously about the human soul, about passion, about why we are the way we are, which is really interesting. It's very existential and very philosophical. And this isn't the space film I was speaking about. I did that video about a future Disney films, and that's Disney animation, and this is Pixar animation. So those are two, they're sort of two brothers, right? They're sort of separate entities, yet related, because they're under the same house, or corporate umbrella, and they're also, I call them brothers because many people, Lasseter mostly, well, he was inspired by Japanese animation as well, but many people who work for Pixar were inspired by Walt Disney and those films. I mean, you have to be. You have to be inspired by one of them at least, right? Whether it's Jungle Book, whether it's 101 Dalmatians, whether it's Snow White, whether it's Sleeping Beauty, I mean, Peter Pan, it just goes on and on. Or if they're really young, The Fabulous Four. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King. I keep saying it, those are, I mean, I don't know if any studio besides Disney Animation has released 4 films in less than 5 years that influenced an entire generation like that. It's just incredible. And I grew up, so I'm a little bit biased, but I grew up with those films, so I am biased, but they're great films. And so anyways, yes, this film Soul sounds philosophical, existential. I think it's going to push the boundaries of animation. It's going to be beautiful, like Inside Out was. And I think it's going to be really creative. I mean, Pete Docter is, and he has experience. He has 3 films under his belt, and they're all good. And he knows he's not, I mean, I don't see this happening. I don't think it will happen, just because I think if someone's sort of a nice guy and sort of an understanding guy and someone who listens, and even if he doesn't want to, right, saying, oh, it's my film, you know, why, I don't want to listen to anyone else's opinions, but he does listen. You know, he listened on Monsters Inc., he listened on Up, he listened on Inside Out, right? So he'll listen to his peers about this film, Soul, and say, well, that doesn't really work, like we've watched it 10 times or 15 times or 20 times, and it still doesn't work. You know, it still doesn't really make much sense. And he'll listen, and the film will be improved. And as I was saying before, I mean, it's shorter now just because of, I mean, they need to make money, and they need to put these films out eventually. It's not really, let's work on it for 10 years, right? Like Rapunzel was worked on for 10 years before Walt Disney moved on. And then it became Tangled eventually, which was just a long, long genesis. But yeah, I mean, it still is 3 or 4 years of these people's lives, right? And I know it just popped in my mind, you know, the Good Dinosaur was, unfortunately, didn't do too well at the box office. I think it is one of the weaker Pixar films, I will say, even though that's original. And I believe that came out in 2015. Yes, it did, because it was Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur, and they had 2 original films in 1 year, which they have not done since. And it's difficult to have an original idea. So they've done, lately, I know Coco came out in 2017, which is great. That was a good film. But they did Finding Dory, they did Toy Story 4, this year Monsters University, several years ago now, I believe 6 years ago now. So they have been in sequel mode. Toy Story 3, 9 years ago. So, yeah, I mean, I think over the past 10 years they've done more sequels than original films, I believe. I think it's 4 to 3. But anyways, really exciting. I just want to share my opinion on Soul. And the marketing, same thing. They said the film releases a year from today, so it releases June, I believe today is, yes, it releases June 20th, 2020, which is a great release date. That's next year. Same thing as Onward, which was, the first news was released a year before the film releases. So that was in March 2019. That film releases in March 2020. So title card, synopsis, and then the trailer, which I missed, unfortunately. Sorry I didn't do a trailer reaction. I wanted to, just crazy times, busy times. But the trailer, so they released an image or 2 images, and then the trailer came out, I believe, less than 2 weeks ago. So they announced this film today. The trailer will be out before Christmas or by Christmas. They'll put it with one of their films. and that'll be the first teaser, maybe earlier actually, maybe November, and then that'll be the teaser November, December this year, and then they'll have the second trailer sometime in March if it's a June release, and there we go. That's the marketing machine of Disney. So yes, I'm really excited for this film. What do you think? Do you think this will be another home run? Can Pete Docter hit 4 home runs in a row? That's pretty incredible for any director to do. I can't think of anyone. I mean, obviously, I'm being silly. I apologize, but Scorsese, um, Spielberg, as much as I don't want to admit it, Tarantino probably, 4 films in a row that were good. Now, I know these films vary. I think Monsters Inc. is a little bit underrated in my mind, probably like in my own brain. I mean, um, because I haven't seen it. I've only watched it, I think, twice all the way through. I've watched Inside Out a couple of times. I watched Up. I think I watched it 6 or 7 times. I love Up. It's one of my favorites. So yes, I would put Up number 1, then Inside Out, and then Monsters Inc. Um, but they're all so good. I mean, that's just that's those are good films. So that ranking doesn't really mean much. I just wanted to put that out there. But yes, so what do you think? Are you excited? Are you excited for this film? Are you a little hesitant? Do you think 4 times in a row is a little bit difficult? Do you think this is the film that gets mixed reviews for Pete Docter and Pixar? Um, they've only had they've had one film, Cars 2, I believe, which had negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Our old friend, I believe it was 30 something, and then Cars 3, I think it was improved upon. I think it was 60 something. But anyways, uh, yeah, so I think those are 2 films that are really mixed. Maybe Good Dinosaur has 70 or 75. So really, they've only created 1 negative film and 2 mixed films out of 20. I believe Pixar has 20 films out now, including Toy Story 4, which comes out in a week. So, yes, I'm really excited for the film. Tell me what you think. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will try to make more videos. If you have any suggestions or ideas for this channel, please let me know. I am the Cinephile, Kelvin Hoy. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.